Hey there, welcome back to The Surge. Today we are going to explore the rest of R&D, and we're going to see some sights now that we have opened the way back to the Ops Center. I really like the way that this area is laid out. It's laid out in like a really interesting cyclical design. Like it's kind of a semicircle, right? We started at one end of R&D, one end of the semicircle, and by the end of this area, we will have made our way around to the other half of the semicircle. And by that point, we'll just have a bunch of entrances going all over the place. It's really cool. It's a really cool design for an area. And speaking of this area, you're going to want to pay a little bit of attention to the story here, because there's some really interesting stuff we're about to learn.
Nanites is persistent. I don't see why I'm the only one that's bothered by this. And theoretically, they will hold for the mission parameters. Program determination only starts after 24 hours, by which time they should have completed their assignment. But this is a problem because somewhere in there is a variable we haven't accounted for. Now, I want to be on record that I protest in the strongest terms about the use of the current nanite profile for live use.
So we found out recently that Creo has moved on from Project Resolve after pushing it early to something called Project Utopia. Apparently, Creo was working with nanites at some point, nanobiology, having nanobots do people's jobs for them and all that stuff. Perhaps their replacement for Project Resolve is this Project Utopia. But from that log, it kind of sounds like yet another case of Creo pushing things before they're ready to potentially disastrous results. Although, we haven't seen any nanobots, so I suppose things can't be too bad. Speaking of too bad, this enemy encounter is a giant pain in the fanny. They really know how to use these grenade guys and the flamethrower guys to their advantage. Because, I mean, look at what's happening. They're in like a perfect cross-section so that I can't hit them easy, but they can use their long-range attacks to set poor Warren alight. And this guy is backed by 2 shield drones who are ready at any time to explode into energy and knock me over, so that the flamethrower guy can finish me off. This is like... It's tough. It is a tough enemy configuration. I really appreciate their ingenuity. But thankfully, the scrap glaive of the cat is able to hit multiple enemies in one swing, so... Thanks to that, and the magnet drone, we can use the flames against him. And of course, we had to come up here because there's a power core circuit blocking the exit. So our only way out of here was to come up here and do that. But also, you can just run past those guys if you want, because you're invincible while you interact with a button or an object, so you can just ignore them if you want. Ugh. But yes, welcome everybody to the nanobiology lab. It's kind of interesting because if you look around, there's a bunch of future science projects everywhere, and there's like nanobots assembling technology, and also holes. There's also holes to knock enemies into. Why? I don't know, but there sure are. There sure are holes, and enemies can fall into them and die. Of course, I'm a little bit nervous here because I'm carrying around 50,000 tech scrap, and we're starting to get kind of up there in equipment, so I have to be a little bit wary because stuff is going to start getting a little bit expensive as we go. Thankfully, though, I'm saving on. Oh, I put down a nano mine just now. Did you see it? I put down a mine with the scrap glaive. Anyway, thanks to the health injector, I'm saving quite a lot on health vials, so we're good for now. I'm telling you, that healing item, it never gets old. It's a good idea. It's a really good idea for keeping the player active. You know, that's what I like about action RPGs like The Surge, is that they have like active combat, where you have to be like a participant and you can't just hang back and be passive. It's really important. But yeah, look at those nanobots. Look at those nanobots and these rocket shells. Very, very mysterious environmental storytelling. I turned Don back on in the options menu there, pulling back the curtain yet again, because he's got another speech in this area, I believe, and I want to turn it back on so that you can hear it. Because, see, we want to hear most of what Don has to offer, but some of it is just repeated dialogue throughout this entire area, and it got a little grating on my ears. But we'll let him speak, you know, if he decides to do so again.
I'd like to welcome back Jonah Gutenberg, founder and CEO of Creo. Jonah, thank you for coming. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Don.
Now, usually it's me bugging your office to try and get a moment from your busy schedule. But today, you actually requested time with me.
That's right, and I appreciate you talking to me at such short notice.
No, thank you. You've obviously got something on your mind.
Yeah, and now I'm going to speak frankly here. Over the last few months, Creo has been viciously attacked by certain elements in the media. They've been propagating myths and inciting the public against Creo and Project Resolve.
Honestly, it's hard to believe. Why would anybody want to do that?
Don, you know as well as I. We know what it's like out there. They'd sell their own mothers for a headline, and that's what it's about. Make no mistake, they don't have any altruistic intentions here. It's all about the money. Sensationalism sells. These allegations of skyfracking, that Project Resolve is responsible for the increase in disease and disabilities over the last few decades? Garbage. Complete and utter garbage. Sorry. It's hard to keep my calm. What have these people done for humanity? Have they sweated and bled like we have at Creo? No. The personal attacks, I don't care. They can honestly say what they like about me, but against those that work here at Creo and the people behind Project Resolve, that's where I draw the line. The world was dying. Did anyone else step up to the plate? Did anyone else raise their hand? I invested all I had in Creo and Project Resolve because I want to invest in the future of humanity.
Unfortunately, this story is all too common with the so-called press and left-wing media. They'd rather make up a story than follow the facts. But what about the people and the growing sentiment that we should be looking for another solution to Earth's problems?
The people? They will point their gaze to whichever way the wind blows. It's in our history. No matter how many times visionaries throughout the centuries have worked for the betterment of mankind, they've been demonized, roasted alive as heretics. There is no such thing as gratitude from the masses. You must work for the species and yourself, or not at all.
Thank you for your time. It's a pleasure to hear you speak.
I'm sorry if I got a little carried away, but I am passionate about my convictions.
He certainly sounds like it. Jonah Gutenberg is interesting. We've only heard from him a few times so far, but what I find the most fascinating about him is that he seems to have a different attitude than most of Creo so far. I won't say that he seems to care personally about his workers, but he does seem to care about people trash-talking, about Creo's reputation. Jonah Gutenberg seems to honestly believe that Creo is doing good for the world. Now, whether that's because he has been misinformed about Project Resolve and its toxicity to the world and all that stuff, or because he's just drank a little too much of his own Kool-Aid, I guess we don't know yet. but perhaps we'll learn a little bit more about the guy as we go on, and why he's so, shall we say, passionate about his ideals. He certainly does seem like a company man, though. But yes, I have turned Don back on. Don's time in the corner is over now that we've had that second log. And I guess we could go and, finish this area, but we have some optional stuff to explore first. This little hallway here specifically. Like, it's actually kind of hard to notice that you can come over here, because the only way to actually get here is through a broken window, which, if you have forgotten about the platforming in this game, you don't really have any reason to investigate. There's also some pretty tough enemies over here, which is kind of a pain. But I've equipped some fun beaten up weapons, so you know what? We're gonna get a lot of arm exercise in this next couple of minutes of footage. But first, a robot, a broken one.
Can we go home now? My leg hurts. Where's my daddy? Daddy told me not to talk to strangers.
You're the girl that Alec was looking for?
You're Maddie, then?
Yes. How'd you know my name? Did Daddy send you?
Sorta.
I'm Warren. Your, dad sent me. He's really worried. Why didn't you call out to him?
Because then he would have found me. Don't you know how to play hide and seek? Is he angry with me? I'm sorry. I'll contact him so he can come and get me.
Okay.
Are you alright? What happened to your leg?
Daddy and me played hide and seek with the others. They weren't fair. They hit me when they found us. But I hit them back. And they ran away. I wasn't fast enough to catch them. They didn't play fair. I don't like them.
I don't like him either, Maddie.
I have to go now. Be a good girl and stay here so your dad can find you, okay?
Okay.
Well, there's something that Alec Norris neglected to mention about his daughter. Specifically that, well, she may be a facsimile of the real thing, let's say. That's kind of cute. Maddie's cute. I like Maddie. Although I wish he'd been a little bit more forthcoming with what or who we were actually looking for. In the meantime... Oh no. In the meantime, there's kind of a problem with these nanobot brain guys. These mysterious experimental creatures. They've started to wear armor. They are wearing the Proteus gear, which I think I put on at some point in the Let's Play. I don't remember. It's one of my favorite outfits. Not because it's like weird future cyber armor, but because like it gives pretty good bonuses, which we will discuss. And of course, if you cut the head off of them, the body's still running around. So no matter what you do, these horrible creatures are gonna get back up and come after you again. Which is cool. It's a really cool enemy type, but it's like unnerving. It's really unnerving because you gotta think, right? Like the human brain in the robot is what's controlling it. But if you cut the head off, the body still runs around, meaning that like the body also has some kind of sentience even without the head. It's very strange, and it's very, ugh. It makes me feel weird inside. There's a shortcut over here, back to the first maintenance tunnels if you feel like going back to the ops center. But there's no way back if you do that. So instead, we're just gonna press onward. We'll get another shortcut pretty soon, but not just yet. But yeah, we've gone up and down and all around in this area, and
Some people
it's
are
kind of cool.
kept out of sight. Too scared to get too close. They were worse than anything I knew. They looked normal, but you just can't tell. Once I got to R&D, I could see why they were so angry. That's the first time I've peeked behind the curtain here at Creo. And I wish I hadn't. Resolve is a lie. That's now obvious. But it gets worse. They've got some weird Frankenstein cybernetics program going on here. It's just horrible. If the media ever got hold of this, there's a bunch of nanite research here too, and I'm not sure what that's about. It's just still bugging me to find the board, and this has made up my mind. They've got some explaining to do.
I gotta say, I'm with Mallory on this one. Once we get to the executive forum, Sally and I are gonna have a long talk about this shit. Because a lot of things have happened here at Creo in the past day or so that really require a little bit of explanation. Because, see, now we've got two different secret projects that man was not meant to know of running around. Project Utopia and these things.
I've been waiting for you.
Oh ho. Joe?
I've been robbed. They walked right in and stole it. I've been working so hard. My only weapon, my only chance to make things right. I'll have to start all over again.
Joe, you have some explaining to do.
Hold on. What's this all about? What are you doing here? Who are you?
I'm sorry. I can't talk about it. What they did to Mickey, to us. I know it won't bring him back, but it was murder. And he was helpless. This is about justice. They have to pay. They have to.
That would have been me. Found your hideout and the weapon.
And you took it? Did it look abandoned to you? Like I wouldn't miss it? I trusted you. I trusted you and you betrayed me. Give it back, you hear? I need it.
Not until we have had a chance to talk to Hobbs.
Sorry, can't do that.
You have the nerve to stand there and tell me it was you, but you won't give it back? It's mine. I built it and I need it.
Oh, we'll give it back. After we sort out this
Sorry,
misunderstanding.
have to get going.
I hope you plan on coming back.
We will. Don't worry, Joe. We'll give your weapon back. But, I'd like to hear the other side of the story on this Mickey fella. But first, let's take the equalizer out for a spin. I really like the equalizer. The equalizer is great. The infinite R1 combo is just invaluable against enemies that have a lot of health. Would I say that it was worth the tech scrap that we gave her to make this thing? Because if you don't give her the tech scrap, you get a different reward, which is just as good, but it's not a weapon. Would I say that it was worth the tech scrap? No. However, it's pretty damn good. And yes, we will be returning again to talk to Joe before this is over, because we owe her for all of the, well, actually, what has she really done for us? Well, we'll be nice anyway. So welcome to the unmapped area, the creepy part where there's 1,000 enemies running around, which is wonderful. Big fan of 1,000 enemies running around that just want to murder me. This area is like a huge trap, because your first inclination when two enemies run straight at you is to run past them. But if you run past them further into this tunnel, more enemies attack you, and then you'll just have like 4 or 5 enemies right on your tail. And that's not great. That's not ideal. I really want the body part for the Proteus set, but this guy's kind of making it hard. He's got a very chufty body. There we go. And yes, even if you cut the body in half, they still come at you. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get the feeling that this is what they're using those nanobots for. Because, human enhancement technology has proceeded in a very strange direction for Creo lately.
Log 1. Date unknown. Dr. Lawrence Murphy, beginning observation. They're inside me. I can feel them. I've already begun to notice the first changes. The skin on my right leg is burning and itching. The texture appears to be changing. There are small black dots underneath. Necrosis. I could try to stop the process, remove the corrupted areas. I believe it's already too late, and they're within my internal organs, mutating me at a cellular level.
And it seems that one Dr. Murphy was interested in injecting these nanobots into a living human. So, this is where the Surge starts to get a bit interesting with its future science themes, because the introduction of R&D and the side plot with the nanobots creates some very interesting questions about humanity, about what it means to be a human and for humankind to advance in various ways, right? Because you've already got me being set on fire. You've already got the exosuits enhancing the limits of human capability to pretty extreme levels. I mean, have you seen Warren flipping around with those stabs? Like, that's something out of an action movie. But anyway, the exosuits already improve humans beyond their capability, and I suppose at Creo their motto is, let's take it as far as we can, because it seems like injecting human beings with nanobots is the next step of the process, and then replacing the human body with a metal exoskeleton run by nanobots is the step of the process after that. But it seems like they're trying to accomplish two goals at the same time here, doesn't it? They're working on both projects, which may be a little bit more due to corporate unrest than you may think. As we will find out soon, perhaps. For now, it's back to the Ops Center, because we're actually not going to finish R&D in this episode, because it's running a bit long. I had to cut this up a little weirdly. But we'll get there. I'll see you all next time, after we have this wonderful reunion between father and daughter.
Sorry, Maddie. It's gonna be okay. Daddy'll make it better.
It's okay, Daddy. Please don't be sad.
No, it's not okay. I should have been there. I missed you so much, Petal. Missed you so much.
I missed you too, Daddy.
Oh God, you made it. Thank you. Thank you so much. You don't know what this means to me. To have her back. Hold her again. They broke her leg. Those bastards broke her leg and I can't help her. I don't have anything to make it better.
So this is your daughter, huh?
Yeah, this is Maddie. She likes you a lot, you know.
Well, that's great, because I like her.
Thank you for everything. I'd be nothing without her. Maddie's all that's left of me.
What do you need to patch Maddie up?
I don't know, it looks really bad. I'll have to reconstruct it completely. The tools are not the problem, but I'll need another leg from a compatible source.
You'll get one. I'll see to it.
If there were more men like you, the world would be a better place.
I should leave. Take care now.
You too.